First and foremost, I concern myself as a photographer. Next, as explorer, and then eventually expedition leader. I lead a small team of people to some parts of the world, usually intimate, between 2 to 6 people, to take pictures of the wild giant. Each one of those cameras is indicating of the different animal on the planet and the time of the year that will be the best to encounter them. We start with the fact of how you tell a story. These images are historical, time-wise. There was a time that hardly anybody used a fisheye in aerial photography. It was breakthrough at the beginning when I started using that, and all of a sudden it became a trend. So today you'll see many people traveling, if anybody have a Canon or Nikon or Olympus, with those fisheye and taking picture with the fisheye, understanding that the fisheye have what they call a distraction factor, as you see here. Sense of place, out photographing trailing stars. But not just trailing stars, that's one thing, that's mostly technical. But now how to put a subject in the front of it. But even better yet, how to put a subject just like a lighthouse. I wanted to create something that hardly ever seen before. If I use a fisheye, put it very low down on the ground, actually on the ground practically, the light becomes very, very small. Take advantage of the forced perspective of the fisheye lens. Sense of place again, going on top of the mast of the sailboat in Antarctica, as cold as minus 30 or 35, climbing on top, the relationship between the sailboat to the iceberg in Antarctica. The sense of place being on the high Arctic with a polar bear is not just about the polar bear, but where is it in all this big desert of ice, if you want to call it? Or the same opportunity get very, very close to the polar bear. And very close, that I mean as close as almost I am here to the second or the third row. Understanding about animal and learning about the animal, what their safety zone or comfort zone, and what their actually tools, a weapon, and how they survive in the wilderness. For polar bear is a sense of smell. So if the wind blow away from the polar bear, I can get close. But I need to be aware that the wind can change and be able to actually evacuate very, very fast. Sense of place. Everybody that goes to Antarctica or to sub-Antarctica, to the South Georgia Island, we love those penguins. But everybody go to take a picture for very, very close and miss the whole picture. 250,000 king penguin on South Georgia Island. But then you come very, very close into the king penguin. So I was holding with myself a 600mm lens with a tripod just for the picture you saw before, but also the 100 or the 50mm to have this very close-up of the king penguin. We go into another aspect which is totally mind-boggling, because what I'm going to share with you is something that you hardly can believe. That's one, but all for fact and all in picture. It is encounter with a great white shark underwater without protection. 1982, I was on a mission for National Geographic together with David Dubillain and Dr. Eugenie Clark for a story for National Geographic. And we sit there for almost a week, try to get the picture together with a very well-renowned researcher and photographer and operator, Mr. Rodney Fox. Rodney was our mentor and mine as well. And we worked with him and we put a lot of bait around the boat. Eventually the shark arrived. All of the predator on a planet, no matter what, either will be a lion, will be a leopard, and will be a great white or leopard seals, they don't come as soon as they see a prey or available food, come and take it. They are very suspicious. They are suspicious because they protect themselves. They're always wondering what there is going to hurt them before they go to take it. And the shark will come in. The tuna was hang on a pulley like this, on a pulley, into the water. And the shark will come one time around the bait, second time around the bait, and the third time he came to where the bait start to raise his head out of the water, and Rodney pull up the pulley, the bait out of the water, and the shark lurch out. But 5 years later, or 6 years later, a good friend of mine, Doc Pirine, another fantastic wildlife photographer, but also have a stock agency. So he suggested Amos to remove the bait, as you see from here. We remove the bait to make the picture more attractive for sale. One morning, I wake up in New York City. I live in New York at the time, and 93. I walk in the city and all of a sudden I see all over the billboard, the phone booth, the buses, and the billboard on 42nd Street, this picture. And what happened here? Look what the advertising agency did. They took the horizontal picture and moved it vertical, just like the movie Jaws, and create subliminal connection between the image, between Shark Week and what was very famous and very popular and money-making event. The largest animal ever live on the planet. In this case, we are sitting on top of a kayak in the middle of the channel, the 9-mile channel of San Diego, between San Diego and Mexico, waiting for the blue whale to pass by, sitting on a kayak. I just put my hand in the water with a camera, put the camera on hyperfocal from almost from 1 feet to infinity on f/22, and the blue whale just came by my side. When I went to Baja in the early 90s to photograph the blue whale, and I'm sitting here for 2 or 3 weeks already, and we did not hardly seen any of them or be able to encounter. I ran to the edge of the boat. I hand myself over to the side on the bow, almost as low as I can to the bottom, almost like 6 inches away from the water. I took this picture, and I knew I took one of the best pictures of my life. This is images that actually done deliberately in coordination between the plane, between me and the plane, and the skipper on the boat with the radio. I wanted to be able to illustrate not just this picture, how close we can come, but this picture to show really how big they are. Who knows what is that? What? Leopard seal. And where do they live? Only in Antarctica. And 70% of their diet is actually plankton. Only 30% is penguin. And look at these teeth. All the story that you see next is about the teeth. And the story that I'm going to share next photographically is about staying with the animal and how you tell a story with images. We start diving in Antarctica only in the past 10 or 12 years. When anybody else come to their territory, anybody else meaning another leopard seals, they come and confront them. When we come, what happened? When they look on the glass of the camera, what they see? They see themselves, reflection of themselves. And what they do, they try to really confront it to make these other leopard seals run away. And they're going back to do what they do best, and this hunting of the penguins. The way they hunt the penguin, they usually come and catch them on the rocks. They drown them first. And only after they drown them, then they start feeding on them. And this picture took the first place last year in the competition of the APA. And then they go out and hold it by their teeth, just like here, but firmly and gently. Because you've never seen any animal feed on feathers, nor that we can eat feathers. So how the leopard seals really feed on a penguin? They shake the animal, or before they do that, they come in front of the camera and hold it and tell him, that is mine. And now they hold it and they shake it violently from left to right, so the skin peeled off, and that's what remains. So photographer, either you are war photographer, street photographer, fashion photographer, whatever will be, need to stay for as long as possible and after everything is over, because something happened in the end that is probably better than anything else before that. We'll look at the striped marlin and how they feed. Anybody eat sushi here? No, somebody did not eat sushi? Well, also the striped marlin. Look at him. How, by the bill, come to the bait ball and hold only one fish by its bill. It pull it out to the side, away from the bait ball, and only then it feed on it. And that is not a Photoshop. If you want to see more of my work, I will wave goodbye to you, and I'll have some question after this. But to see more of my work, you can go to the website called biganimals.com. I do topside and underwater photography, and we have time for questions.